Former Interior Minister Ziyad Baroud is running for the first time as an independent parliamentary candidate for one of the 5 Maronite seats in Kesrouan. Credited with overseeing Lebanon's best-managed round of elections back in 2009, Ziyad Baroud, along with his team, orchestrated in one day what usually took up till then 4 weekends to achieve, a record in Lebanese history which earned him the United Nations Public Service Award. A youth advocate since he began his career, he always appealed to the public with his humility and his dedication to the everyday cause. Why run at all?
Because I'm not seeking a parliamentary seat in as much as I'm trying to get some popular legitimacy, so to speak.
Popular legitimacy
I'm seeking people's confidence and trust in order to do something at the level of the parliament. Meaning, I know that you cannot stay in politics unless you're part of something. A political party, the parliament, the cabinet. That's why I think that I had no other choice but run for parliament, not for the sake of the seat itself, but to do something that I know I can do. Basically, legislation, monitoring the governmental performance, budget issues. This is what I know how, this is one of my expertise.
You say running for the people's confidence. Why is that important?
Because in politics, you need to have the people's backup. In principle, you work for the people, you serve the people, and that's how it should be. Now, I know that for many years that was not the case in Lebanon, but we should rectify things and say, well, we need to serve. That's what I tried to do actually in the 3 years that I spent at the Ministry of Interior, serving and not necessarily being minister or as we say in Arabic, عملت وزير. That's not how I see it.
On the same list as you, Simon Abi Ramia, Shamil Rokoz, Roger Azar. It's a very FPM list, and I'm sure you get this all the time. But for somebody who really wants...
With independents like Namat Frem, like Mansour El-Bon, like even Shamil, we're independent. And it doesn't mean that we're trying to hide this alliance or to say, well, we're independent because we don't like to be in alliance with the FPM. I'm not saying that. On the contrary, I have an alliance. It will keep me independent. I will stay independent.
Can you stay independent with this alliance? Of course I can.
Do you think that when you go on alliance with a political party and you don't belong to the political party, you're part of a parliamentary bloc, you lose your independence and your liberty?
No, you don't lose your independence, but you become affiliated with it in the regards and in the perception of people towards it.
Perception is something else.
Right.
And somehow I think that perception is harsh sometimes. You know,
but that's the reality of politics.
Yes, but people sometimes, their perception is not about realities, it's about how they see it. And that could be harmful sometimes because you're not, when you have an alliance, a political alliance, electoral than political, it doesn't mean that you lose your credits,
credibility,
if I may put it this way.
As well.
Credibility is not at stake when you have an alliance.
Why did you pick this list specifically? Was there a reason?
I could say that the list picked me, not the.
Okay, but you must have accepted.
I accepted exactly because I think that this law, which I don't like much, imposes on us this kind of alliances. You cannot run independent. You have to be part of a list. And the many lists that are...
What about anything for civil society that could have been appealing?
It was one of the things that I was considering. I had too many meetings with civil society groups and leaders. I have to say that you're not civil society when you run for parliament. You become political. So I met with new political groups, if you wish.
That's such a political answer.
No. I met with them to explore the possibility of joining efforts.
Satisfied.
And I felt that civil society, between brackets, or new political groups were not unified enough to face the huge challenge that was upcoming. And I think that I would be very happy if I see those groups making it to the parliament. because they are new, they have maybe new ideas.
So you endorse them, but you're not part of them.
I'm not endorsing them.
Your campaign, بيشبهنا. So he's like us. That's really
I meant people.
the message.
I meant people who...
A man for the people. One of the few politicians known in the history of Lebanon to answer citizens' emails, to go down in the middle of traffic and set things straight. People always remember when you exited that car. It's still talked about till today. What do you think is your message?
Very simple.
What is
I'm simply saying that this is where I come from. I feel what people are feeling. I am the victim, if you wish, of traffic jams every day, like everybody. I know what it means to pay tuition fees for children. I come from a family of father and mother who both were school teachers. I learned how to fight by myself, how to fight, challenges, and life is not easy. And I understand how people are struggling and how they are fighting, because I've been there and I'm still there.
We talk about this new electoral law. It used to be a winner-takes-all approach. Now voting will be based on proportional representation, something they've talked about years, and it's finally here. And yet, of course, you are very critical, like many people, about this new proportional law, and specifically the tafdiliya, which is the preferential vote.
Yes.
Why?
I'm not against proportional representation. I'm still one of those who would advocate for proportional representation.
But the way that it is.
But the way that it is controversial, at least. Most importantly, on the level of the preferential vote, which is making things difficult for everybody, because it's become a way of providing candidates with means and tools in order to pay more money, to spend the money, because at the level of the list, and I don't know to what extent we still have lists in this law, the only need for a list today is the threshold. I mean, for a list to get a number of seats. The preferential vote, the one single preferential vote, is making things difficult for those who are running in the same list, because your ally
wants to get the
exactly,
vote,
and
right.
your ally is somehow your opponent, because every single candidate is trying to get more preferential votes for him or her to get on the top of the list. So basically, this is what is making things a bit weird. You go on the streets, you hardly find a picture of the whole list. It's more about individuals who are trying to
So isn't it the most popular person wins? Kind of the one.
I don't know if the most popular or
the most liked, the one who spends the most
maybe
money.
the one who spends money, because money is being spent. It's not a secret. It's being spent widely, and this is very harmful for the process. The day when the parliamentary seat would be bought, I don't know. It's really
hasn't it always been the case?
Is it really about democracy? No, it has always been problematic, but not to that extent. Today, it's very obvious, I would say, and money spending is being more and more spread all over, widely spread. I know that in 2009, the management of the elections was excellent. I'm not the one who's saying that. President Jimmy Carter said it, the EU delegation, everybody. But the problem in 2009, back then, was the money as well. Because when I proposed at the level of the parliament in 2008, when the law was being discussed, when I proposed that the banking secrecy be lifted, they didn't accept. And as long as the banking secrecy is there, I don't have much hope on curbing money spending.
This law, does it favor any party? I mean, several experts believe, Hezbollah, through affiliated
it definitely
parties and candidates maybe could significantly gain more seats.
It definitely favors big political parties, which is okay, because I'm not against the political party system. No, I may be against the establishment on many levels, but I'm not against political parties because I think that this is the best way of doing politics in general.
Well, the parties are the establishment.
But the problem, exactly, and the problem is that today even big political parties had to go in alliance with independent people, independent candidates, which means that we don't have a full political party system.
In your speeches to an audience in Zut, you promised, should you become MP, to fight corruption and work toward a gender-inclusive society that would benefit the youth and disenfranchised groups. How do you do that? Say you are elected MP. What a member of parliament, what can you really do to benefit the youth?
Well, the main tool in the hands of a parliamentarian is legislation. Right away, there are some immediate challenges linked to the social aspect of Lebanese people's life. But for me, decentralization is major. It should be one of the main and the first things to tackle and address. But in terms of youth, I believe that we should give more room for participation on too many levels. Take the electoral law, or even decentralization, or the municipalities. It should be more inclusive of young people. They should be there. We should encourage them to be part of NGOs. We should encourage them to be part of public discussions. They should be part of
They kind of are on their own way with social media and stuff, and things of the sort.
Exactly. Let us put what is on social media in more, I would say, institutional mechanisms and policies.
Policy making,
participation is key.
The current establishment, do you feel that they're more on board with this idea of including youth, or a lot of them still
Unfortunately,
are? Why not?
The signals were not in this direction. Take, for instance, lowering voting age to 18. Nothing much has been done. We have a draft law.
You tried to do that.
Yes, we have a draft law.
Yeah.
I wrote it myself in maybe 2009 or 10, and it was sent to the parliament because the cabinet approved it, actually.
But this old generation of political parties and the people in power, I don't want to say it's dying out, but it's not going to be here forever. They don't have...
Biologically.
But yes, naturally speaking. But they don't have a conscientious barometer that tells them, well, it's about time to maybe switch things up.
Change doesn't come like this.
Change is coming.
Change comes differently. Take, for instance, young people aged 21 to 29. Those who never had the chance since 2009 to vote, to participate as citizens in decision-making related to the parliament. I myself put hope on these people. I do believe they are around 20% of the voters. And I think that they can do much. They can do a big difference. They can make a difference if they vote right.
You remember groups, you know, like 2 years ago when they took to the streets for the waste crisis, but it doesn't last.
Maybe, but
the political establishment is very stubborn and very hard.
There will be a breakthrough. And I do believe that they should still fight forever, maybe, but they have no other option. What would be their option other than fight and get some good results at the end? I think that they should fight, and they should make alliances with maybe members of parliament, maybe with the politicians,
maybe you, once you're MP?
When I was serving as Minister of Interior, I had maybe the best modus operandi with the youth, with the NGOs, with civil society groups. So you can be part of the system and at the same time give room for those people to express themselves and to be part of the thinking and of the decision making.
Because you have children of your own and you probably think to yourself, you know, do I want them to stay here? Do I want them to leave? But I want to work for a better future for this country.
Exactly. You know, the battle that you lose is the one that you don't go to, in a way. So my children, they will decide what to do. I will give them all the ingredients
and the tools
to make the decision, but I mean, it's up to them. I'm doing my best because I believe that this is possible, that this is doable. I still dream of a better Lebanon. And the day I will stop dreaming, it will be not only a nightmare, it will be the end of anything, because people who dream end up doing something.
It all starts
I'm
with
not
a dream.
talking about daydreaming. I'm talking about those who really think that we can make change or changes in too many fields. And now the problem is that the region is difficult. We're facing huge challenges. The country is difficult. The economy is sometimes collapsing. This is not easy, but at the same time, is it easier elsewhere in the world? Is it, I mean, every country is facing challenges. Even countries with security stability are facing terrorism and terrorist acts. So I don't think that it's a generalized matter, that is to face problems and try to find the best solutions. Lebanon and the Lebanese people potential is huge. We should put it on the table and ask people who have potential to believe that they can make a difference.
It's called the Proust questionnaire, obviously named after Marcel Proust, the French novelist. He believed that through these answers you could tell a little bit the nature of somebody. And there are 35, but I picked 7, so you're fine.
7 is good.
Ready?
Shoot.
What is your greatest fear?
Losing people who I love.
Which living person do you most admire?
Many, I would say Dalai Lama.
Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
Anybody historically, maybe?
Historically, in Lebanon, I admire Fuad Shahab.
Okay. What talent do you wish you had?
Patience.
You're impatient?
Sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. Doesn't show.
I don't know, but in this country, it's hard to remain patient. What quality do you value most in the people around you or your friends?
Truthfulness. I like them to say things as they are.
Okay. Who are your favorite writers?
Honest.
Be honest, so honesty.
Yeah.
Who are your favorite writers?
Writers, I like John Grisham. Not because I'm a lawyer, but I like his books.
Because you're a lawyer?
Novels. Maybe.
Would you consider your greatest achievement?
It's not done yet.
Okay. Any regrets?
It's yet to come.
It's yet to come. That's a good answer. Any regrets?
Many.
Name one.
Sometimes I under-evaluate things or people.
Okay. So underestimate them?
Underestimate people and under-evaluate situations.
Okay. What is your idea of perfect happiness?
When you grab it, it's wonderful.
Any scenario that comes to mind?
Not necessarily. It's a state of mind. It happens quickly. And when it happens, sometimes you don't even feel it unless it disappears.
And then you realize? When
it disappears, you realize that it was there and you didn't really give yourself the time to enjoy it.
That's kind of sad.
No, it's nice because I'm aware of it now. And now when I have a moment of happiness, I grab it.
Okay, thank you. The parliamentary elections on May 6 could very well prove to be Ziyad Baroud's next moment of happiness. Hoping, should he make it, he grabs the opportunity to put the youth at the forefront of change. If you like this episode of Why Chats and want to see more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click, click, click!